In today's episode, we pick up with part 2 of the interview with Dave Elliott. In today's episode, advice for single women and how I dropped the ball in my relationship and I teach men what not to do. We pick up where we left off.
Welcome to this edition of Peak Performers Podcast with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Dave, what would you say to the single woman out there in the audience? She might be divorced, she may never been married, and she's just been dating and it just seems to be going nowhere. She seems to keep finding the same type of guy. She's really struggling. What advice do you have for her?
The first thing I would say to her is, you are my perfect client. That is pretty much the avatar for most of the clients that I work with. A lot of times they have been divorced. A lot of times they're single moms. In every area of their life, they're performers. They are smart as hell. They're achievers. They are getting it all done all by themselves. And quite frankly, that's also what sabotages them too in the area of relationship. A lot of times I find that there are some unresolved wounds that they have no idea that they have there. There are some fears, insecurities, lack of understanding or an awareness, obviously some strategies that are missing that causes them to sabotage in the area of relationships, just because, everything that made them really strong performers in every other area of their lives is what kind of sabotages them in this area. So, what I would say is that, if it's not working for you and you want something better, I would say give yourself the gift of doing a little bit of coaching with someone who gets that really, really well. Because like I said, those are my main clients and I help them, quickly. I've got it pretty much, locked down here about how to really change your results in that area of your life. And it's not trying to, it's changing in areas that they want to change. Nobody's forcing them to do anything, but it's giving them some awareness in some areas that they are, probably sabotaging, that they have no idea they're sabotaging, and it would actually feel better for them to shift it, because it does put them back in a great place where they can feel really good and be radiant and flowing and feminine. Like, a lot of times they are overusing masculine energy because they have to, because they're in survival. They got to pay the bills. And, the problem with that is, you say they want to, I have all the time, I hear, strong, successful women say, I need a really masculine man to keep me in my feminine. And I think, no, that's garbage. That's not even true at all. That's a total misconception. And the truth is, it would be that situation like you talked about too, is like you got two strong people fighting for domination, and that's never going to go well. The truth of the matter is, a woman can go back and access her feminine energy anytime she wants in a heartbeat, because it's like going home. And if you don't know that you have it's like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. If you don't know you could go home anytime you wanted just by clicking your heels together 3 times, then we've got a problem.
Yeah. There's this perception that feminine is weak. And it's completely the opposite.
Absolutely. In fact, feminine can bring masculine to his knees in 2 seconds. But, feminine, when feminine goes masculine, a lot of times they go head to head. If masculine does back down at that point, it's because he's backing down because he probably doesn't really care as much anymore. Because he's not as even interested or intrigued. But when a woman goes vulnerable and accesses that place inside of her where, she does trust her and know her own value, and she, goes vulnerable, it brings a warrior to his knees and he wants to serve her.
Yeah,
it's powerful.
It's funny. I'll be watching TV. I don't watch a lot of TV, but I watch a little TV with my girlfriend, and somebody will come up on one of us shows. She goes, "Do you think she's attractive?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess. Yeah, she's attractive."
It's one of those tests.
But she's really not my type. She goes, "What do you mean she's not your type?" I'm like, "She's not my type." She goes, "Why?" I'm like, "Way too masculine." And she looks at her and goes, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, just listen to her." And yeah. I think women have a tougher time seeing it in other women.
But they do, because it's so prevalent. It is so prevalent. And women too, like a lot of times women who are, successful, they, They do it because a lot of it's rooted in masculine behavior, like going out and getting it done, kicking butt, taking names kind of behavior. And one of the things that they miss out to on also is, time with the sisterhood and the queen time and supporting one another. And these are the women who are most competitive as well because they live in the world of masculine. And so then they miss out on beautiful connections with other, feminine people who can support. And it's really powerful, and it's a game changer to have support for that area of your life. It's like, I talk about it's essentially like, going to the gym and only working out the left side of your body, being totally overdeveloped on the left, and then your right is, scrawny and sickly, and you just look at it like, something's missing here. And one of the most powerful examples that I can give people is like, look, it's not just masculine and then there's a wall down the middle and feminine. We all have both energies. To give an example, my core is absolutely masculine, and when I'm working, I'm creating a safe space. I'm nurturing. I'm teaching. I'm helping people to open and to give them and supporting them while they're vulnerable. All of that's done under the realm of feminine energy. And so I step in and out of it during the day, and I do whatever it takes to get the result that I want, because it's all about how do I do it elegantly, effectively, and efficiently. And so if I'm telling, I always make the joke, it's just ridiculous to say, masculine responds to challenge. Feminine would not. That would totally shut her down. So if I say to a guy I'm coaching, I'm like, well, listen, you said you're going to do this. You commit to doing it? Are you a man of your word? He'll be like, yes, I'm on it, because I'm sort of calling him out. You don't say to a woman who's sort of breaking down, sobbing, and confiding something in you and say, stop this. What are you going on about? Pull up your big girl panties and stop this. Like that would masculine might respond to something like that, but that would totally break all rapport. And I say it as a joke, but it's understanding like what works best and how do you move people? How do you understand them where they are? Because you got to understand them where they are before you can move them to where they need to be. And so you do that incrementally by acknowledging them and then giving them the tools they really need so that they can get more comfortable using feminine, giving them powerful examples of other people who have done it and used it and gotten, incredible results. So it's about meeting people where they are and using whatever works effectively. And, that's one of the things that I've had to learn is like, I want to use the entire bandwidth of me. I don't want to waste anything. There are times when, I'm second degree black belt. I can be pretty intense and masculine when I want to be. I don't often have to be. And then I can also, give someone a hug and sort of be there for them, not even if they're here physically, but like I can comfort and, be very tender as well.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely feminine energy. And I love that I can pick my spots and show up where I need to be, because the masculine in me, who is overarching and running the whole show, says, logically, I want to be most effective. I want this person to get the result because I really care about them.
Yeah. It's funny. I had a 6th degree black belt on just a couple days ago. And he also has a mutual friend that was on the show. And it just so happens that the 6th degree black belt was a couple episodes below the other person as far as downloads. I'm like, I'm just going to challenge these guys. So I sent him a text saying, look, you're only losing by 10. He goes on a rant. He's like, I've got this guy. And then the other guy comes back and they're just like pounding at each other. He's like, I got you beat. And I'm just sitting back there just going, I love that.
There's the masculine.
Exactly.
Rises to challenge every time.
And there goes the downloads, rising up the chart.
Nice. Very cool.
So for the guys out there, what advice do you have for them?
Oh, great question. So here's my policy on guys, especially in the area of relationship. I don't really market to them at all. And I do that because I respect them. And it's, I understand that men sort of have to find their way, and like there's that logic and analysis, like, I got it, I got this. And so a lot of times, by the time I work with a man, it's usually because things are kind of in a tough way, and a lot of times the woman is the one that would bring him into it. And because I respect my brothers, I don't want to cause them pain. And I just had a conversation with a guy last night who took a couple of times to get him on the phone, but we actually had a really great connection once we got him there. But it's because I come from a place of just absolute respect. And my thing is, I just want to give him. I want to help him win. I want to help him win the game. And so, if you're okay with getting some cheat codes, or a couple of tips and tricks that are going to make all the difference, because there's something you clearly, maybe there's an area that you haven't fully mastered yet. Okay, you might be the best in the world at what you do. And the guy I talked with last night, great entrepreneur, is building a great business, and he's really, really good, and he fully knows his value. He's very, very grounded, centered guy. But the challenge in his relationship was they haven't been married that long, and there's sort of a lot of pressure right now, and they're basically just settling in. They're both sort of settling into the idea of like, holy crap, I didn't know this, but we're really different. What are we going to do now? We got a baby. And my heart goes out to him, because the truth of the matter is, with a couple of additional skills and awarenesses, some of which I gave him, some of which I've given her, they are making some huge shifts. So the thing with guys is like, I just want to make it simple. I want to give them something elegant and easy that they can use and get big results. And I have a couple of simple tips that make a big difference. And when they see the results, it's like, oftentimes it's like, oh wow, that worked. And then they come back for more, and they find out that it's not painful. I think one of the challenges with traditional therapy versus a coaching approach is that therapy is all about sit there and talk about point of origin. Tell me about your childhood, and it's like men don't want that, because it doesn't resonate, it doesn't work, and they just like, oh, what am I doing here? Is it not? Can I get out of here yet? They're just not open to it. But I get their discomfort. I get the fact that they'd rather be pretty much anywhere else but there right now. And so I basically do whatever I can to make it as easy and comfortable and effective for them. So I get them in, get them out, give them some tools, and then we check in again. How'd that go? Oh, that worked. Fantastic. Let me give you another one. And so I really believe I work with people where they are. It's so important. I said it earlier. And, a lot of times the women want to do the work because, again, they navigate by emotion, and they've got pain in this area, and women don't want to sit in pain because they navigate by that every single day. Men can navigate by logic, and they'll shove it down, and they'll say, well, it'll be all right. I'll figure it out.
Yeah. We don't want to talk about it. We just want to fix it.
Right. But, and we don't have to talk a lot. We got to talk a little, give you a couple of tips, a couple of tricks, and then, then you've got some stuff that'll go and absolutely change everything.
Give us 2 or 3. And I know it varies by person, but if there's 2 or 3 that come up all the time, what are they?
Are you talking about from the perspective of men?
Yeah. So the men listening to this show, they can leave this show today and go, you know what? I got 2 or 3 tips that I'm going to start using.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I got a couple. I can tell you the ones I shared with the guy last night. He basically is, they've gotten into the situation where they're both recognizing like, wow, we're just really different. And they're kind of holding each other at bay, sort of, which only exacerbates everything she's feeling because it's from emotion. So the things that I helped him with is said, okay, a couple of tips from Alison Armstrong, and I like to credit people where I can. Alison does this great thing about holding the basket. For a man to have the ability to ask a woman, to let a woman purge. It's the difference between masculine is hunter energy. We'll stand there and we'll lure the animal in, and we got to protect and provide. So we'll wait for it to come our way, and we'll hunt, and we'll get it. We'll be successful. Feminine takes care of her family too, but she's gathering. So she's going out through the day, pulling in fruits and vegetables and relationships and friends and finding out what's news and the news that you can use. And she's gathering all day. She's got all this stuff gathered, and she doesn't have any way to process that other than to then, dump it. And the usefulness of masculine is to allow her the space to hold the basket and allow her to purge, allow her to get it out and say, how was your day? Oh, well, let me tell you, this happened and this happened and this happened and this happened. And you can just listen and smile and allow her to purge, because here's the good news. At the end of the purging, she's now empty. And now she's able to go back, and she's able to be refilled with better things. Things that you provide. You're able to fill her up with love. You fill her up with good feelings, fill her up with care. So, but she needs to be able to purge. It's like trying to, jam a bunch of stuff into a basket that's already overflowing. It's not going to be effective. It's not going to be efficient, and it's going to just create a mess. It doesn't work. So if you can hold the basket, let them get it out, occasionally ask anything else, and they love that. They'll be able to get everything out, and then they just feel relaxed, and it's just like, they feel empty, and they actually like it. So they can now refill with better things of their choosing, the things that you as a couple choose together. That quality time, that being together and being understood and all that good stuff. So holding the basket is one great way to do that. And then another way, too, of uniting with a woman who's just upset, like another client that I had just yesterday had just a horrendous day of traveling. She travels all the time, and she got to her hotel at the end of the day, and her room had been given away, and she was just exhausted and didn't have any more left in the tank. And, as men, we have this tremendous need to fix things and be logical, and that is so unwelcome when she's just emotionally overwrought. And so sometimes you just got to do, Allison talks about, pushing the car over the cliff. You say, honey, yeah, I know, that sucks. I can't believe that. I can't believe they did that. That sucks. Let's just push the car over the cliff and watch it burn. And then together, it's like at least you're on the same side. And she's like, oh my God, he's not trying to fix me. He understands me.
I am so bad at that. I get yelled at all the time. It's like, would you help me push it over the ledge? And then I'll do it, and she'll be like, that was really bad.
Yeah, but it's a learned skill like anything.
I got some learning to do in that area.
But the results are there. If a woman, because she's had a tough day, and we have this tendency where we just want to do whatever we can to fix it.
Yeah, you know my response has been, so what's great about that? And then usually like a plate comes flying across the room.
Exactly, so again, that's like stopping a woman when she's doing the purge, like holding the basket. If you do that, like everything she's trying to purge out, you're now jamming it back in. She's like, stop it. I got to get it out. Yeah. And you're just getting in the way of that. She's not ready for that. Once she's empty, now you could come back later and you could say, I was thinking about that challenge. What if we did this? Or you can even ask the question up front while she's, venting. You could say, I'm happy to do that for you, but let me ask you, is this something you want a solution to? Or do you just want to vent?
Because I'm good either way. I'm a guy.
Yeah, ask the question and she'll tell you. She will tell you when she wants a solution. And the thing is, like, as smart as we are, you would think we would know the difference between a welcome solution and an unwelcome solution. It doesn't matter if it's the most brilliant, insightful, fantastic idea in the history of time. If you present it in the wrong way at the wrong time, it is worthless. Absolutely worthless.
Yeah, if they were only more like us, it'd be a lot better.
Well, that's what I keep telling my wife anyway. But yeah, those are just a couple of really simple tricks for guys. And also another thing that is another really quick one, it's about understanding imago and understanding that the people that are in your life are drawn to you specifically because there is a wound or an issue that needs to be healed. And a lot of times people, if you ever heard someone saying, I keep attracting the same partner over and over and over again, the first thing I say is, well, it's because you haven't gotten the lesson yet. Why don't we just get the lesson? And that's it. Imago will bring the same people to you over and over again. It's called the Imago loop. And so until you get the lesson and heal it, the challenge is that they always look different and they reopen the same wounds, but from a different perspective, so we don't put it together and realize, oh my God, you're here to fix that thing. Instead, they'll say, oh my God, I can't believe I got another psycho, or I got another, controlling jerk, or I got another this, that, or the other thing, because you're just oblivious. Yeah. And oblivious is never going to solve anything.
I love a phrase, if you're praying for patience, why are you so surprised when God sends people into your life that test your patience? Because That's how you build patience, by being tested.
Absolutely. Very true.
We all have core beliefs that support us. What are some of yours?
Wow, great question, Thor. Core beliefs. My core belief that I have is I am so blessed that I'm absolutely doing what I'm here to do. This is my mission. I have fully planted the flag. I know I'm doing what I'm here to do, and I absolutely love it. Core beliefs really gotten clear on 6 human needs, like what drives me. And so for me, I had to change early on. I used to be sort of this pleaser, Mr. Nice Guy. I wanted everyone to like me, and I really didn't fully understand how disgusting that was to just be such a pleaser. But because that was my old needs, it was when I was unawakened. But when I understood, really who I am and what I'm about, and I chose again, what I really wanted my life about was about love. It was about loving other people and being open to love and receiving it. And secondarily, I chose I'm here to serve. I want to make a difference. I want to contribute and give back. And so those are my core philosophies, my guiding lights, if you will. I guess I figure when I quit my job and went into business for myself, I said, you know what? The fact is, this isn't about significance. I'm not looking to build the hugest company in the world, and it's not about certainty of knowing I'm going to be able to exactly where every dollar is going to come from. I'm going to do it because what guides me is I want to love people and I want to serve them. And my belief is, as long as I love and serve people, then everything's going to pretty much be okay. Because I know who I am, I know what I bring to the table, and I'm really clear on that. And that doesn't mean I'm not going to build something amazing along the way. It just means that it doesn't prevent me from starting.
Yeah. Motive matters.
Motive absolutely matters. In fact, I just talked about that at a speaking engagement last week in Connecticut. It's a big part of it. Why you're doing it. It's all about order and syntax too. What comes first? If you get hung up on the how without getting clear on why, you'll never do it. I am so clear on why, and why will lead me to how eventually if I just continue to ask good questions and know my outcome. And again, I talked about earlier, with Katrina and I, we live our mission. We travel the world to touch, move, and inspire people to create a legendary love for life, and how to have those things, to give them the tips and the tricks and psychology, all the things that you're talking about, what I call the awareness and strategies, I guess. That they can create that and go to get really clear. And once you have clarity, I just feel like this year has been really good for me and taking it to the next level and getting even better. There's some huge distinctions about, the 3 types of people that have a business. Came from business mastery content is like you're the artist or the manager or the entrepreneur. I would say, one of my gifts is I'm a great artist. I'm really good at what I do and getting results for people. And one of my curses is I'm a great artist. So rather than, I'll go and write new content or go and start a book or go and create something else because I have the ability to do it. And I absolutely love it. And it's great once it's done. But I've found for me this year, my focus and my energy is going into wearing that manager hat a lot more and being really really effective at like how do I line it up? How do I create systems? Yeah. How do I create strategies? How do I get really clear and sharp and take this awareness and clarity that I have and translate it into a system that runs itself so I can help more people.
Yeah,
which goes back to the artist in me.
Yeah, it's so important. I'm definitely the entrepreneur and the artist. I'm horrible at management, especially management of people. And anyone who's worked for me, I'm a great boss, but not a good manager. So it's just one of my weaknesses, and I try to hire people that can help me and support me in that area. What is the worst advice you've ever received, and you took it not knowing it was bad advice?
Oh my gosh, I had to think about this one too. And I came up with, I used to, before I became a coach, I was a graphic designer. And I worked in advertising agencies, and I was also a broadcast producer, so I produced TV commercials and stuff. And one of the things that I found out sort of by accident was I loved writing also, being a copywriter. And I got to write at my job all the time because I loved what I did and thought I was really good. And then at one point I was ready to move on to my next opportunity. And I said to one of my colleagues, I'm gonna go and look for a copywriter job. And he's like, well, wait a minute, you can't do that. You went to an art school, you've got an art degree. You don't have a degree in writing. You don't have a degree in English. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, well, you can't do that. You don't have a degree in that. And I let that seep into my head. And I even went to my local community college and I took a test on writing. And I got like a 98 on it. And I said to him, like, well, what do you recommend? And the guy said, we don't have a class for you. And I went back to him and I was like, why did you tell me that? Better yet, why did I believe you? And this is before I had done personal development. I was like this young guy. I was maybe 22 or something, 23. And I thought to myself, why did I buy into your bias, your model of the world that says you must have a college degree to do it when I'm gifted at this? And I immediately went out and I got a job as a copywriter. And it was one of those times that it's like, oh my God, why did I buy into your BS, your belief system about what I could do and what I couldn't do? And for me, that was powerful. And it's just like, it was even before personal development, but I had to have that experience, and it was powerful. And I don't buy into other people's opinions of me. And again, that's when you asked me about the question about, what my weakness be. I don't buy into people's opinions of me. I am the one that defines me. I know who I am. And I think I've gotten to the point where I'm really good about owning my stuff. Like if I get some feedback, I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right. I probably didn't do that as well as I could. I'm proud of that. I've come a long way.
Yeah. The way you get better is just by doing it.
Yeah. And stepping in and saying, yeah, you're right. I own that. I fell a little short there. Thanks for the feedback. That's great. And then you just commit and come back. And I think that I respect that. If somebody comes, to me that way, and I'm like, yep, you're right. I didn't see it that way. I appreciate the feedback. And it is just feedback. It's not you suck because, it's not that. You're not pronouncing a sentence. You're just saying, hey, I noticed you came across a little strong there, or you did this, that, or the other thing, or, you forgot what it is you say you're most about. And I'm like, ooh, yeah, I did. I was so focused on what I was doing, I forgot who I want to be. So thank you for the feedback.
Tell Peak Performance Nation how they can contact you and a little bit about what you're doing.
Sure. So my website is just about to go under a whole new renovation. I'm really excited about. That's another one of the cool things that's happening this year. You can find me at legendaryloveforlife.com. Clients all over the world, and all my contact information is there. I've got I just have a new chapter of a book that's come out called Essential Wisdom, where I'm writing all about essential wisdom about how to create a marriage that stands the test of time. I'm really proud of that. I've got some amazing co-authors. I'm just really proud to be a part of that. And I have a book also on how can peak performers who are single and dating write an incredible dating profile that gets results. I think that's an underutilized skill. I see people over and over again write really poor profiles that don't work because it's all about me. And I use my, I had like 20 some years in advertising and marketing, and I made a lot of ads. What people don't realize is dating profiles are an advertisement. Advertisements have certain jobs. They have to get your attention. They have to have a call to action. They have to make you do something. They have to ring the cash register. Otherwise, it's just an indulgent waste of 30 seconds or thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So I help people write really profound and clear profiles that get results. I've gotten just some amazing feedback on that.
That's great. Actually, when I started dating, I hired a coach to help me do that. And on the pictures as well. Apparently, you're not supposed to put up pictures with you and a big fish. I didn't do that, but it was interesting. I mean, I'm a guy. I don't know what pictures look, help me and make me look good. But you got to find somebody that is knowledgeable in that area.
Yep, I go through the entire book from pictures to what do you want, what do you don't want, and really it's about coming from the different perspective of not here's who you need to be, it's here's what I bring to the table.
Yeah, absolutely.
Total game changer.
Yeah, and I got real clear also of what I was looking for. Not only this is who I am, but this is what I'm looking for, and quite frankly, I'm sure some people looked at it and go, I'm not that person. So they just said next. And that was great because it was about finding what didn't, who wasn't the right fit, not just bringing in, 1,000 people to kind of take out for coffee every couple minutes.
And peak performers don't need to waste time, right?
Exactly.
And so like my distinction on that is it's flipping job one and job two. Most people are all about here's who you need to be. Here's what I do want. And it's this, and in the newspaper business, I also worked in the news industry. It's called burying the lead. the first sentence has to lead with, here's who I am, here's what I'm looking for. It's got to be really clear right up front, because if you don't hook them there, you've lost them.
Yeah.
And if you lose them, then you might have missed out on a really great contact, someone that you get to know and that can change your life and you change theirs. But if you lose them, at the first thing, you've blown it.
Yeah, you only have a couple seconds to make an impact.
Absolutely, no second chance for a first impression. Well,
David, we are at the part in the show that we call the rapid fire execution round.
Oh man, this is like Oprah, right?
I don't know. She took my my little my little section here, but if she did, she can use it.
Okay.
In 1873, Cattleman designed a .22 revolver. It had 12 shots. You're going to have 12 questions to answer in 2 minutes or less. And the reason it's 2 minutes is peak performers, if they have something to do, they can get it done in 2 minutes, they knock it out. They don't put it on their to-do list. So we are going to knock out 12 questions in under 2 minutes.
Bring it.
Okay, first question. Name the best decision in business you ever made.
To get started, to quit my old job and get started.
Most impactful speaker you have ever heard. What did he or she say?
Michael Beckwith said, God does not qualify the called. God does not call the qualified. God qualifies the called. Powerful.
Wow. One thing you must do every single day.
Wake up. I got 2 minutes. Work with me.
I've never heard that answer, and that is really good. Name the skill you have that you are most proud of.
Relationship transformation.
Name one thing you did poorly last year, but this year you're actually doing quite well.
Marketing.
One thing you were told that turned out to be the most true.
Oh my gosh. One thing I was told that turned out to be the most true. Find something that you absolutely love and do it, and you'll always be happy. You'll always love what you're doing.
Name one decision in business you wish you'd never made.
There aren't any. They've all created who I am today.
Number one thing you'd like to learn in the next 6 months.
How to be a master marketer. Be even more effective.
Your top goal for 2016.
Be a master marketer.
Most meaningful book you've ever read.
7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey.
Person you trust to tell you the truth, even if you don't want to hear it.
My wife.
Your favorite thing to do when you're not working.
Spend time with her.
You survived the execution round in 1 minute and 43 seconds. Excellent.
Wow. That's it?
That's it. Dude, I only have peak performers on this show. They blow through 12 questions.
Oh, that's awesome. It seemed a little daunting up front. I was like, we got to think about this.
Dave, thanks for being with us today. I know the audience is going to get so much out of these episodes. They should definitely look you up. You have such incredible advice. You've been a big inspiration and help in my life as well. So thank you for being on today's show, and we look forward to having you again.
That's great. Thanks so much. And you're doing a great job. I'm really excited to see you doing this and, having some great guests. And I've been listening in too. And I love seeing what you're doing, but keep up the great work.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for listening to the show today. If you've not already subscribed, please head to iTunes, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating. Please follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Thor Conklin. The website is thorconklin.com. The email address is info@thorconklin.com. While at the website, please sign up for our newsletter for additional tips, tricks, tools, and psychology on being a peak performer. Remember, these episodes are between 15 and 35 minutes and are designed to be consumed during dot time, doing other things, running, jogging, working out, driving, commuting. Decide to be a peak performer in all that you do. And until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.